Mark Consuelos' tearful confession leaves Kelly Ripa and viewers in shock. Sometimes the people we think we know best end up surprising us the most. They catch us off guard, not with anger or disappointment, but with a truth so raw that it changes how we see them, and maybe even how we see ourselves. That's exactly what happened when Mark Consuelos, actor, husband, and beloved co-host of Live with Kelly&Mark, opened up on live television in a way no one expected. It started like any other day on set. The usual laughter, the light-hearted stories, the playful banter that makes mornings feel brighter. But that morning, something was different. Mark's smile didn't quite reach his eyes. There was a heaviness beneath his calm exterior. Something even Kelly, his wife and co-host, seemed to sense before word was spoken. And then, as the laughter died down, Mark took a deep breath and said softly, "For quite some time, I've tried to show that I am enough." The studio fell completely silent. Kelly turned toward him, eyes wide, not with judgment, but concern. She didn't speak, she didn't interrupt. She just listened. Mark went on to share what so many people feel, but rarely admit, that success, applause, and smiles for the camera can't fill the quiet emptiness that sometimes lingers inside. Even in the midst of achievement, he confessed, there were moments when he questioned his own worth. To truly understand his words, you have to know where Mark came from. Long before Riverdale, long before the morning talk shows and the fame, Mark was a kid from a hard-working family. His parents, of Mexican and Italian descent, taught him the values of perseverance, humility, and faith. He didn't grow up with luxury. He built everything from scratch. When he met Kelly Ripa back in the 90s on the set of All My Children, their chemistry was instant. They eloped quietly in Las Vegas, a decision straight out of a soap opera script. And from that moment on, their love story unfolded in front of millions of fans who admired their connection. But as their careers took off, Kelly becoming one of America's most adored morning show hosts and best-selling authors, Mark sometimes felt like he was living in her shadow. No one would have guessed it, but beneath his easygoing charm, he battled quiet doubts. He loved Kelly deeply, but a voice inside often whispered, "Am I enough?" beside her. For years, he smiled through it, but that morning on Live, something shifted. His vulnerability broke through the polished TV facade. He looked into the audience and into Kelly's eyes, and finally allowed himself to be seen. Kelly didn't rush to fill the silence. Her hands were folded in her lap, her expression calm, but full of love. And then she leaned forward, her voice barely above a whisper. "You've always been enough. You didn't need anyone to tell you. You already knew." The crowd erupted in applause, but for Mark and Kelly, it wasn't about the cameras anymore. It was about truth, the kind that binds two people through the highs, lows, and everything in between. Later, Mark explained that his confession wasn't planned. He admitted, "It came out of nowhere, but I needed to say it, not just for me, but for anyone who's ever felt the same." Kelly later told People magazine that the moment was deeply personal. She said it came from years of honest, sometimes difficult conversations they've shared at home. Behind the glitz of television, they've had the same insecurities, the same fears, the same need for reassurance that all couples experience, even the ones who seem to have it all. Mark revealed that acting had always been his way to process emotion, but it couldn't replace the inner peace he'd been searching for, and being labeled online as Mr. Kelly Ripa didn't help. The constant scrutiny chipped away at his confidence. But Kelly saw him, really saw him. She made it her mission to lift him up publicly, reminding viewers, and him, of his immense talent and the love and leadership he brings to their family. When he finally joined her as permanent co-host, it wasn't just a career move. It was a declaration. He belonged there, equally. That moment of honesty on air was more than TV gold. It was real life. It reminded everyone watching that even in the most picture-perfect relationships, there are quiet struggles. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit that you've been trying to prove your worth and finally realize you always had it all along.